Everybody, welcome back to A&M Commerce. It's time for another edition of Inside Lion Athletics. I'm your host, Charlie Chitwood. I have lots of guests for you today. Avi Maida jumping in and helping out on some of the interviews. Volleyball team had to go early because they've got to make it all the way down to Beaumont first. But what a weekend it has been in Lion Athletics. Volleyball, undefeated. Soccer, undefeated. Untied even. Girls getting to play at home, and my guests you'll see next to me, I have on this side, this is Kaydence Ramirez, the Offensive Player of the Week in the Southland Conference for her efforts in the Lions games this last week. And on this side of me, the Defensive Player of the Week, Sloane Denning. They didn't let many goals get in, did you?
No.
Tell us a little bit about the wins. First off, go ahead, Sloane, you take it away first.
I mean, it was great coming out against SFA on Friday, getting a win there and having that translate and all of our energy translate to our game on Sunday and helping us get the 2-0 win.
It's hard to get on that roll. It was certainly a non-conference with the schedule that y'all were playing, but it's certainly paying dividends now. Do you feel faster than everybody else?
I mean, I feel like that's something that our coach is really good about, making our pre-conference, really difficult for us and just to really challenge us so that whenever we come into conference, we're ready for it and, we're not surprised by anything.
Kaydence, for you had to kind of wait a little while before you could even get out onto the field. It had to feel wonderful to be able to participate and contribute again.
Oh, yeah, I was really excited to be out there again. I was sad that I missed the first game, but I had trust in my team that they were going to take care of business.
All right, so do you score right-footed, left-footed?
I am both-footed.
You're both-footed?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like one is Thunderfoot. It's both feet are Thunderfeet.
I guess you can say that.
Yeah. So you took a little detour from, you grew up not too far away from here, down in Waxahachie, and then you went to Tuscaloosa before you made your way to Hunt County. How'd that work out?
It was a good experience. I think everybody needs to take their own path and figure out what's right for them. A bigger school like that, obviously, I didn't like being away from home that often, and I love it here. I get to drive home on the weekends and enjoy my game during the week.
Yeah, well, your game's been picking up pretty good. You don't have enough games to qualify yet, but you would be the league leader in goals scored. Do you feel like that's kind of where you should be? Is that one of your goals?
I mean, my main goal is to, help the team out in any possible chance that I can. We made goals before the season started, before our conference, and I wanted to get at least a goal a game, and I've done that so far, but there's still a lot of conference left, but it does go by pretty quick.
Okay. Sloane, you haven't really missed any games this year, have you?
I have not.
You have
missed
not.
Our first exhibition match.
Talk a little bit about the way y'all have had to fight through with so many injuries this year. You had one game, you only had 4 subs available. Y'all have had to really kind of clamp down and focus and find ways to conserve energy in the midst of a game where you're running all the time.
Yeah, like Kaydence was saying, our coach, she does a really good job of making our preseason really difficult to prepare us for conference, but with that, when we have so many injuries, I mean, the players that are on need to make sure that their fitness is up so that we aren't having to sub people out all the time because there's not that many subs.
You're a mid or middle back. Positions in soccer, you're not in the place where you get opportunities to score much. Is it a personal thing that you like stopping people more than posting numbers?
I mean, during part of preseason, I was playing outside back, which is more of an attacking position.
Okay.
I actually used to play forward, and then a few years ago, I changed into a defender. So it's not really a personal preference with not scoring, but, I mean, I feel like it gives me insight, like previously being an attacking player and then coming back to defense so I know, what to look for when I'm defending a player.
So do either of you, this is when the other team's you're trying to get it way up closer to their net. You're just trying to stop them anywhere. Do you look for opportunities, though, when all of a sudden, boom, I've got the ball and it's me and teammates with a clear path? How big do your eyes get when that happens?
Very, because, if we have the numbers up advantage, chances are that we're going to be able to get a goal or at least get something out of it, like a set piece or a corner.
Yeah, I mean, same thing with Sloane. Sloane also gets up on our corners, too, I feel like. So she gets those opportunities. So that's what's cool about soccer, just because you're a defender, you don't get to just not score all the time.
That's right.
It's not just forwards.
It's not like 6-person basketball where you couldn't cross the middle line. Everybody gets to contribute. Yeah. So what about communication out on the field during the game? Who's got to listen the most? I mean, everybody's got to listen for coach, but is it just usual talk out on the pitch like you're having a basketball game or baseball chatter? Softball chatter, I should say.
I mean, at least on defense, communication is a really, really big piece. I kind of struggled with that at the beginning of the year, but then was able to find more of my voice because with the 4 in the back, if they have 3 forwards and the 3 forwards are moving around, there's going to be one defender that's open. Mm-hmm. But if the forward goes to that defender, then there needs to be communication because there's runs in behind. So, and then the communication piece from the back, like with the attacking players, letting them know when they can turn, when they have time to shoot, when they have space.
And I guess you've got a lot of conversation with Jillian back there in the goal, being closer to her.
Oh, yeah.
Does she talk a lot?
She does. She does a really, really good job with directing the team and letting them all know what's going on and what she can see.
Okay, very good. We've got time. We can take all the time we want. What was pre-conference like for you? Obviously, you didn't get to play that many games, but just getting healthy and cheering on the team, it was a rough road. It was a reason to be on the rough road, and it's paying dividends.
I think it was a good opportunity to kind of just see, like, where we are as a team, because I do consider myself a leader at our team, and just being able to watch on the sideline and cheer and just to see where we needed to fix things and where we can get better in things. And it also gave Ashley an opportunity to, move players around that aren't really usually would play that position. Mm-hmm. And I think it kind of set us up for conference play, like there are some people who aren't usually playing their normal position, but they're doing great at it. And I think that just gave us a big opportunity that we have a bunch of utility players.
Was that victory over SFA, how big was that?
It was huge.
It was huge. Yeah. Is that kind of like our rival? I mean, I know that's not who you were fighting for the title with last year, but it's SFA.
Yeah, last year, Lamar, obviously, they won the ring, they won the championship, and for SFA to go in and beat them, that puts a big target on their back. Like, they beat the best team from last year, so, it really, really made us want to win so that
y'all return the favor. There you go. Take care of the Lumberjacks. We have friends down there, so we want to beat them all the time in every sport. Going forward, since you already have them knocked off once, you still have your game with Lamar that'll be coming up. Is that the big rivalry matchup the rest of the way?
I think really we're just looking, not necessarily for revenge, but we definitely could have beat them last year, and we all know that in our heads, and so I think we're really ready to play them.
Outstanding. Okay, so this weekend, you just have the one game, and it's a big one, and that is coming up on Friday, 7 o'clock. A&M Corpus Christi's going to be here. What do you know about the Islanders?
Last year, that's the only team that we lost to, and we lost to them at home last year, so that's going to be a really, really big game.
Y'all beat them there, though, didn't you?
We did.
So they're going to probably be eager to come up here and start things off with a dub. Okay. All right, well, you got to block them out, and you got to score them. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us today on Inside Line. Anybody you want to say hello to?
Hi, Papa.
Hi to my family.
All right. Hi, honey. We'll see you more. Folks, we'll be back with more Inside Line Athletics after this. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Inside Lion Athletics. I'm Charlie Chitwood, joined now by our athletic director, Jim Curry. Busy, happy weekend around Commerce America this weekend, wasn't it?
That's for sure. Busy, yes. Exciting, yes. Happy, yes. All the above.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Did you have to do any push-ups for a win, or did you have to do anything like that?
Gosh, I hope not, because we had a pretty good weekend, right? So we were talking before we got live here. We're going to go a little extra time today because 4 players of the week in their respective positions.
Yeah.
4 wins on the weekend. I told the staff maybe 5-0 because we took best group entry in the Bodark Bash Parade this past weekend, Lion Athletics. So I'm proud of that. Again, getting out with the community, being engaged. but at the same time, too, seeing some great outcomes on the field and on the playing surface. Hey, 2 teams starting conference play undefeated. That's not a bad thing last time I checked.
It sure makes that rugged pre-conference schedule look like, hey, it did good for us.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because that's a little bit of the thought process that goes into it. Sometimes we get that question, why do we play these teams? Why do we play these games? Part of it is we want to test ourselves. Mm-hmm. Part of it's we want to, be in a position to try to elevate what we're doing from a winning perspective, and part of it is to prepare for what we're doing for conference play. And I think early returns for volleyball and soccer have proved well. Now, again, it's going to crank up a little bit for volleyball here for sure, and they know that. And but they're seeing the fruits of some early tests and a lot of work in the offseason as well.
Yeah, I know. Working with Rose and the basketball coaches, Jason Burton before Val, all our football coaches, the pre-conference schedule at Division II, you wanted to play up. You couldn't always play up because there just weren't that many opportunities. But here, now that we're on our way to Division I and full membership and benefits, folks will let us come in and play them.
They will. And we last week we went we aired before the men's release came out. Everybody got to see the schedule on Thursday for the men's side. Speaking of non-conference play and hoops. An incredible slate on the men's side. I mean, that's like you dream that kind of schedule up if you're, a conference commissioner, an athletics director, maybe not a head coach.
Right. Yeah.
But it's a great test.
He's thinking about 15 seats.
Yeah, right.
You're thinking about the 4,500 that are there to watch.
Just overall, I mean, and I think maybe a testament to that because, and I think I can safely say this now too, but. Because it's on their website now as well. But that UConn game will now be aired national TV FS1, and so again, talking about exposure opportunities for the brand and getting the name out there, that worked pretty well for us against San Diego State, and when we had the lead at halftime, and so maybe we can do the same thing up there too, and give them a good run. But again, that non-conference slate for all of our sports has really. Has been a good test to get us ready for what's going on in the Southland. But we've talked about what's happening in the Southland too, right?
Right.
Elevated play across the board in all sports. So, again, I like to test. I like to put us out there. And I appreciate the fact that our coaches are willing to embrace that. And here's the thing, too. Our kids want to play those games.
Yeah. And
they know that it tests them and puts them in a great position to be successful once we get into conference play. So, exciting all the way around.
Walking into Rupp Arena last year with the guys ahead of their first shoot-around, taking on Kentucky. And then when they knew that game was going to be broadcast, anybody could see it anywhere. We had to play for a national championship almost before we got on one of the big channels that went all the way coast to coast.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I think the semifinals were also nationally telecast. But, that's how far you had to go. And here we are, just a ho-hum Saturday. Who's on tonight? Oh, we're going to have a fun one with these guys.
That's for sure. So, no, again, again, great opportunity to profile the brand. We've seen the exposure opportunities for the university, our student athletes, and our teams. And come to fruition. We talked about some of the exposure numbers from last year. I've got no doubt we'll see similar returns, if not better, this next year. And not to mention an old 4-time defending national champ coming in a couple weeks and selling out tickets in that seating bowl in a matter of 5 hours.
Did you really?
That's exactly what happened.
How
for
about
Oklahoma.
that?
So
Boomer.
The
power of Boomer.
Yeah. So, it's cool, right? It's what, but I think it goes back to, we put out a release earlier today about just what we did in terms of revenue last year during the fiscal year 24. And, again, I'm just so grateful that people are responding and leaning into and going all into this experience with us. And, the response from the fan base, our alums, the community, continues to grow, and we're just so appreciative and grateful for that. And I think when we continue to do and see things like what happened with that OU ticket sale, what we're doing in some of our other venues, what we've done the first 2 weeks in football at home,
right?
We had a great crowd in here last week for volleyball. on Thursday, and got a great 5-set win over UIW. The crowd at SFA on Friday night was awesome, just awesome. And there's no doubt they helped propel our team to a win in that game because it was a tough game.
Yeah. How much purple came up from Nacogdoches?
There was an okay amount, but it was mostly our people, and that's exactly what it needs to look like. And I mean, it was a bar fight on the field that night. Let's just be real. And it's fair to say that the old Lone Star Conference rivalry between the two is reigniting quickly across many sports. And so we'll maybe see that on maybe even more display here on November 9. But I got a feeling we'll see that SFA soccer team again too. And volleyball is going to see them here in a couple matches. And so we're off and running.
Pretty good stuff. There's a lot of good stuff to cover here. How about y'all just releasing the numbers on the fundraising done for athletics in the last year? Kind of eye-popping numbers, folks that have been around here a while.
Yeah. Again, just so appreciative and grateful for the support from everybody that's leaning into supporting our student athletes, and that's really what it's about. We, again, the attendance numbers are up, revenue numbers are up, and again, I think that's just a testament to the work that the team is doing here across the board throughout athletics and the university, but also just a commitment and a passion that the fan base has for Lion athletics. And that's one of the things that drove me here, the opportunities that were available to us, and just the pride, the passion of the folks that are associated with this university. And we're seeing the manifestation of that. And I like to say we're just getting started too. I mean, and I think as we continue to grow and build, and I call them proof of concept moments. You've heard me use that phrase before, with what we're doing on the field. I think we can continue to grow from there. But the truth of the matter is it takes everybody, right? I remember we were at the graduation reception for our student athletes at the end of the spring, and talking to them, and I'm trying to get them to understand that just because you've graduated and your eligibility is expired doesn't mean your role on the team, is done. It's just that your role has changed, and now you transition into someone that supports student athletes in the same way that they supported you, because someone gave of their time and their resources to provide that opportunity, and that commitment and that support is we're forever grateful for it. It's making a real impact, and so again, just very appreciative of everybody leaning into it.
Okay, so Saturday evening, there's a debut over in McKinney. We can talk about that, right?
Yeah. So I told
the game
you,
down in Hammond.
We always like to scoop a little something here when we can, right, on Inside Lion Athletics. I guess it wouldn't be Inside Lion Athletics if we weren't giving some insight, right?
You are correct.
That's right.
But here's the thing that I think is right, especially when you're talking about, you're not done when you're a student athlete supporting. Now you can drink beer and support college athletics here at A&M Commerce. Bold Gold Texas Lager. It's going to be, tell everybody when they're going to be able to get this and how.
So this has been a fun concept in the making, and kudos to Josiah Castro for taking the lead on this.
Yeah, thanks for the goodies.
In partnership with Tups Brewery out of McKinney, who just opened an $18 million brewing facility there within the last year or so.
They'll have to expand it in about 3 months
after
this stuff
exactly
hits.
Right, after this stuff hits the shelves. So we approached them about an opportunity to partner with them on an A&M Commerce branded beer. They jumped at the opportunity, and so again, grateful for their support and for seeing the vision and buying into the vision of where we wanted to go with this. But yeah, so we've got we got a little bit of a VIP exclusive tasting event on Saturday at their brewery in McKinney, and we'll hit the shelves here the week of homecoming. So we are right now we're targeting the Oklahoma softball game,
right,
to be your first opportunity to purchase and consume Bold Gold Texas Lager, and we'll have it available all week that week, including homecoming against Lamar. So great partnership with the folks at Benny Keith, and so they'll be looking to grow distribution here locally within the stores. So trying to get it into the Brookshires and the Walmarts and the Independents and all those types of things.
There's a Brookshires in Jefferson, Texas. Hey, I sure hope we'll see some of it down there.
Everybody listening needs to reach out to their local retailer and say, hey, when are we going to get that Bold Gold Texas Lager? You know what's kind of cool about it too is when people see the can, it's a really sharp design. And again, kudos to the team at Tufts. But we've got some very subtle but not so subtle homage to the past with some embossed, ET logos and former A&M Commerce vintage logos and things like that. So, they've kind of labeled it a celebration of A&M Commerce, and that's how we're approaching it too.
Cheers.
There it is, right
Just
there.
like
right?
that.
Just like that. So,
all right.
We'll be able maybe here in a couple of weeks when we do this, we'll be able to actually have the actual can here.
Will it be full or empty, Jim?
Well, we'll let people.
Depends on how long it is into the show.
We'll let the people at home and guess.
There we go. Is it a prop or is it live or who knows?
That's right.
What else is going on? There's just plenty.
Trying to think what else is going on.
Any other unveilings coming up?
So we just did the Hall of Fame announcement, and I know we touched on it very briefly last week, but really excited about that. And I actually, this is maybe a little bit of a call to action for the folks at home too. One of our inductees is a guy from the 72 National Championship, Ken Parks. And, I've talked to a few different people that played with him, and they've had a hard time trying to get in touch with him over the years. And that happens, right? I mean,
sure.
he moved out of Texas as best we can tell. And so we've tried a lot of attempts to try to get in touch with him or some family members, and we haven't. But if anybody's got a contact with him, we would love to get that because we made the decision that even though we haven't been able to make a direct touch point with him or family, he's earned the right to be in the Hall of Fame, so he's going in.
Sure.
And similar type of approach with our track and field inductee. He had passed about 10 years ago now, and we were having a little bit of trouble getting in touch with some of the family there, and we sent the invite out. And then the notice to them, and we actually got response back. And so they'll have some family there representing him as well, even though he's passed. But again, just incredible class, and great group of supporters in there as well. And so we're excited to put that class in on the 9th in November. So like I said, we hit that kind of quickly last week, but that's an important note. And again, we'd love to connect with Ken if he's got some family or friends that are still around and listening back home. So
listen up.
Yeah, definitely.
Calling all parks.
Yeah. I guess we probably shouldn't overlook what golf's doing too to get off the ground.
Yeah, they're swinging it.
We talk about some teams getting started here in play. Women are off to a great start, picking up where they left off last year with that second place finish in the Southland, and then the men got their first action the last 2 days, and they're off to a good start too. They got a couple guys that will be back in the lineup that we didn't play this week, who will help us in a few matches here down the road later in the fall. But it is fair to say they are much improved. So good work by Brian and his team putting together a good squad and getting us started off on the right way with men's and women's golf.
All right. Yeah. Well, it's midweek, but he's got plenty of business already tended to. And the Lion football team will be back out on the field. We go to Hammond, Louisiana Saturday. Can't come to the brewery, but we'll be thinking of you.
There we go. That's
all
right.
Folks, hang on. We've got more Inside Lion Athletics coming your way. Avi Maida has Joe Morales and some volleyball players when we get back after this.
Welcome back to the Inside Lion Athletics podcast. We have here head coach of the first place Lion volleyball team, Joe Morales. Coach, last time we saw you were coming back from a win against Northwestern State, followed up with a pretty good performance at home last week.
Yeah, it's been good. The team has been playing well. I mean, there have been battles, and I think like I tell the team, we're going through adversity, and we're going to deal with those. But coming off of 3 wins, it's and moving forward into this week is definitely give us a little bit of positive energy to feed off of.
Going back to last week to the UIW match here on Thursday, fall behind in the first set, but what does it say about the team to take the next 2 sets, then fall in the 4th set again, but come back and really dominate that 5th set?
Well, the team wants it. The volleyball is played with, points, deflection sport. So the ball bounces sometimes not in your way. And for the team to come back in each of those categories, each of those sets, shows their will to win. And they're getting, they're trusting each other a lot more. They're playing together a lot more. Our defense is being controlled really well by Jade Smith, and then Ellie's running offense a lot better, and they both are producing and getting better game by game. So the experience is getting there faster, and I think the improvement and the pace in which they're improving is generating what we want to be doing. So we still got a long ways to go, but I like the pace in which direction we're going.
I have to know, what was that message that you gave going to the fifth set? Because 7 straight points, that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, I told them, gosh, we have so long ago, but basically that we're the better team and that we have the ball control to do it. And we got to play our game and stop playing sometimes just being complacent. And, the girls, for whatever I said, the girls said it themselves. They want to win, and they're not holding back. They're getting to the point where they believe in each other. They know where they want to go, and they're and a lot of it is we're beating teams off the service line too. I think we got a little bit more aggressive in the serve category, which against what I consider we're a pretty good defensive team. So we get people out of serve. It makes our job a lot easier, and I think they know that. I think they know what our strengths are, and so they're rallying behind that and pushing through.
And then McNeese win on Saturday. Obviously, a lot of history between the two programs.
Yeah.
The first time A&M Commerce has beat McNeese. Just take us through that win. Taking the first 2, they take the third, but then coming back and looked like it was going to 5, but then really
right.
dominated
That game was interesting because I think it's 2 of the top liberos in the league right now, and they're playing back to back. And so I think that one was, if you look at the stat sheet, like they hit 279, we hit 279, but defensively is where we took the edge on them, and that was really good because there was 2 defensive teams. I mean, they were touching balls that should have been on the ground. We're touching balls that should have been on the ground. It became a defensive win. I think we put the ball to a little bit better place in for offense, but that one's just a battle through and through. And you got to give it up for our defense and making those changes, because I think offensively we're doing what we need to do, and I think the defense we outdug them, and I think that was a game changer for that game. And that's a good team. I mean, I'm glad we only see them once, and but we're moving forward, and that was a great win. And going to this week with 3-0, it's a good boost. But we're not going to be complacent throughout this next week. We got Lamar, who ended up beating Memphis, and then we got a tough opponent in SFA. So moving forward, we're trying not to get complacent. We're trying to get better.
You just touched on it defensively all weekend, but Jade Smith and Ellie Baumert both getting recognition from the Southland Conference. First time this program has gotten 2 in the Southland era, so really special weekend for the team overall.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good testament to what the kids are doing. I know Jade wants to be in that category. She wanted it last year, and she knew what the areas that she's struggling in, and I think she put in the time and the work and the effort, off season, extra reps, and it's paying off. It's paying dividends because now she's been in it twice already, and so I think the league is taking notice a little bit of what we're doing and how we're doing it, and our team is taking notice as well. And then Ellie, being the newcomer, figuring stuff out on the offensive end, and it's hard, when you have a setter coming in, and you're running in anywhere between a 6-2 to a 5 back to a 5-1. She's still getting the job done in those situations, in those offenses. So. For her to make it this week and us having 2 in the same week speaks dividends to us. So we're excited about that. We want to keep on going. We're not going to get complacent. We're not comfortable with just having 2 players a week. We want more. And so I think the girls are hungry and moving forward. And I mean, that's the end goal. So
this week coming up, you got Thursday against Lamar, team that has played us tough each time we played them last year, and obviously a new coach that has had some impressive wins. What have you seen so far from Lamar?
Yeah, I think Ariel's doing a great job over there. I think he's getting that program back in shape. I do think they have some weapons that we have to account for. We have to be ready. We're not going in there with the mindset that they're, seated under us. I think preseason polls don't make a difference at this point. It's playing game for game, and I think in the conference you're going to have battles from game to game no matter what seed you are. So, we want to go in there with a mindset like we did against preseason, like we played against TCU, against Ole Miss, and some of the Power Fours. So we don't want to take our foot off the gas. We want to keep on doing what we're doing. We know that there's going to be errors, and the preach to them throughout the entire season has been adversity. And we're going to hit it. We're going to hit it a lot. And can we continue to get over that hump each and every time? And, we're taking it game by game, and I think the girls are ready. And so, we'll see them at their floor first, and we want to get off the gate a little bit faster. So,
and then starting Saturday against SFA starts a really tough 6-match stretch with SFA, RGV, Corpus, Houston Christian, all teams that were preseason top picked towards the top of the league.
You got to love the Southern Conference, for scheduling. It's going to be a battle. The good news is, we get a break in there where we play them at home. Yeah. It's kind of tough playing the back-to-backs. Like you go to SFA, the number 1 seed, and you got to go on the road again to play the number 2 and respectively number 3, I believe, or 4. And so it's a tough transition, and we got to get our mindset. And the scouts are different from each opponent, but then you get a break and you play them at our place. I think there's a lot of benefits and a lot of pros and cons to playing back to back with like UTRGV and SFA. UTRGV and Corpus, and so we got to just make sure that what we're doing and handling in the scout, and if there's any changes to that. But we feel confident in the team this year and what we have personnel-wise on the team. And so we're not looking at like we're playing a number 1 or number 2 or number 3 seed. We're looking like we're playing a good team, and we're going to go out there and compete. So, we're excited about that.
Great. Thanks, Coach, for stopping by. Safe travels. We'll see you next week.
I think. Go Lions.
Go Lions. And welcome back to the Inside Line Athletics podcast. We are now joined by 2 Southland Conference Players of the Week, Defensive Player of the Week on the volleyball side, Jade Smith, and Setter of the Week, Ellie Baumert. And first question for you, Jade. First of all, thank you both for joining us. Jade,
yeah, of course.
Take us back through the last week. Obviously, your second time in the conference play, but 3 matches against really good opponents, and then coming out as the top Defensive Player of the Week last week.
Okay, yeah. So going into last week or whatever, we really had to face some hard challenges, especially coming from last season where we probably didn't do as well as this year. We really came in with the mindset to win, and I feel like we had a desire to play for each other as well as our fans and just our team culture as well. So I think we really pulled that off this weekend.
And then for Ellie, first time playing in the Southland Conference, obviously very tough non-conference slate. How did that prepare you going into this last 3 games that we had last week?
I don't know. I think it gave us all like a certain kind of confidence to be like go in and look at these teams and be like, yeah, like we played with TCU and we played with Houston and we played with Ole Miss, and like that's just kind of a testament to like how we are and how we do. And yeah. For both of you being the libero and the setter, when you're digging and you're setting up and your hitters are really hitting at a great percentage, how much is that fueling you guys each time of the way to have that energy?
100%. I feel that, like as I said, we play for each other. So you're really not playing for yourself, you're playing for the other person. So you really want to make the other person look better.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. I mean, like, if she's getting a good digs and I'm like, okay, I'm like, let's get a kill. Like, I'm going to put the ball in the best position for the best hitter to put it down to the floor. Yeah.
And then for you, Jade, being one of the now veteran players on the team, how have you been able to help the newcomers, a lot of newcomers that are going through the Southland for the first time, playing at these new places for the first time?
Okay. So I would say that it is harder with the amount of new people that we got, but as soon as we got here, we all clicked and we all came together and we all made our team culture and we all decided that we wanted to win this year, and we're doing what we need to do to win.
And then for you, Ellie, coming in, as how much have the returners really helped you to learn about the conference, learn about the opponents you've been playing so far, and about to play the rest of the season?
They've helped a lot, especially Joe. I mean, he's been in the Southland for a while now, and he knows the girls, knows the coaches, knows everything about it. It's really allowed me to like kind of relax and not worry too much about that aspect and like just kind of play. So I haven't been like too caught up in the who's this, who's that, how good are they, how whatever are they. Like, I'm just there to play, regardless of who's across the court. So it's just been super helpful.
Nice. And the last question for both of you, if you had to pick, who's the funniest player on the team?
I'd probably say Maz.
Why?
Is pretty funny. Huh?
Why? Tell her the funniest story about her.
Just like during practice and stuff. But you know, we'll chatter, we'll banter a little bit, but she just knows how to make someone smile, even if they're doing bad on a good day or a bad day. Sorry.
For you, Ellie?
I kind of have to say Millie or one of our managers, Jensen. I mean, I live with Jensen, and I hang around Millie all the time, and we just do like the most random things on our off days, and it's like, I don't know, we just have a blast.
Nice. Well, thank you guys for stopping by. Really appreciate it. Safe travels, and we'll see you next week.
Of course. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Inside Lion Athletics. Charlie Chitwood here. I am joined now by the maestro of soccer at A&M Commerce, Ashley Gordon, and her undefeated in conference play, A&M Commerce Lions. 2-0-1.
Don't jinx us, Charlie.
Coach, you know there are 4 teams that have yet to lose in Southland Conference play. It just started, 3 games is the max for anybody.
Right.
Nobody has the same record. You're 2-0-1. There's a 2-0 behind you.
Mm-hmm.
There's a 1-0 back there somewhere, and then an 0-3, or excuse me, 0-0-3.
Right.
3 ties.
Right.
It's hard to do that.
We had a good weekend. We had a
Yeah.
good weekend. We've been waiting to hit the back of the net, and like I mentioned last week, we did a lot of shooting, a lot of finishing.
Yeah.
'Cause we had been playing well. We just, the final third of the field, we weren't putting it in, and so we saw some great goals this weekend. And Kaydence Ramirez, 4 legit goals. Not like scrappy. We're talking like legit headers.
Just nice.
Yeah. And so anyway, really, really excited for our team. We just, got momentum obviously going into this weekend, but, coming off of, we talked about in the locker room, okay, you won on Friday, but the weekend isn't over.
Right.
And, we had to take care of business on Sunday. Important day. It was senior day. And so great memories for our seniors, certainly. But, the weekend, we needed to be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it would have been all for naught if we wouldn't have put away Southeast Louisiana on Sunday. So we were really excited with our performance and our finishing, which is wonderful. So anyway, and really, really some quality defending too, which
Mm-hmm.
I think you had already interviewed.
Yeah.
Sloane Denning. Sloane Denning had a great weekend, and she's been playing really well. And I've mentioned in a couple of other podcasts, Trinity Edgerton and Mindy Shoffitt, and of course Marina Vera have been really, really solid. But Sloane, she had 2 really, really good back-to-back performances, and clocked 90 minutes. We had a number of our defenders that clocked 90 minutes in both games. So, and that's tough. It's tough for a quick turnaround.
She's
from
been
Friday
your
to
rock of
Sunday.
Gibraltar on that squad, hadn't she?
So,
Teammates getting
yeah.
hurt, banged up, leaving, coming back.
Yeah, and really with Sloane, as a freshman, she played outside back, and so she's really stepped up since we've had Nia Mitchell out, and stepped in the role of a center back, and certainly has embraced it. And of course, since she's had experience as a club player, playing there, but at the collegiate level, had not necessarily been playing in the middle, and so she's really finding her ground. So she's been playing really well. Excited about that.
She was talking earlier when she was on along with Kaydence that her ability in the back comes a little bit from when she played forward in high school before.
Yeah, you see that a lot. Marina Vera, who's our left back, she was a forward and really didn't convert to a defender until her senior year. And prior to me taking the job here, actually, I coached Marina Vera through her high school years in club, and I was the one that converted her from forward to the back. And Marina always was asking me, like, Coach, are you sure about this? And I said, 100%. You're at the next level, collegiate level, you're going to be an unbelievable outside back, and she's doing great.
Is there that much position changing? I mean, it's kind of like a receiver becoming a DB in football.
Yeah. I mean, there's certainly, we have a lot of players that have a lot of versatility. We've got a lot of players that, especially in the midfield, can play any one. In my formation, I play with 4 midfielders, and so the quality of our midfield is that of just their versatility. And so, if we're playing in a game that we've got a mismatch or something that we need to address in the midfield, I've got a lot of flexibility in regards to moving players around, and so that's been great. And even like Hannah Bell, who's one of our leading goal scorers, is a forward certainly, but this Sunday, I mean, I started her at left mid, and she's been great, and
she was the defensive player of the week the first week of the awards this year.
Hannah Bell. No.
Oh, excuse me, Hannah Bell. Sorry.
Yeah. So
I need the large print edition. Sorry,
that's okay.
all right.
But what I tell you about Hannah Bell is one of our leading goal scorers, and is putting forth great performances. But when I had a player go down in Friday night's match against Stephen F. Austin, Hannah Bell finished the game at actually defense and played right back. And then on Sunday, she started in the midfield. And so, again, this is one of our top, leading goal scorers. But, there's a lot of flexibility amongst the players.
You got to kind of take the pressure off of the squad. You had the goals you were trying to get into the back of the net. You had goals taken away from you in a couple of games. But this time, no. It all ended up right. Is the pressure off?
Well, I don't
know.
Is it
a
the pressure?
new kind of grind in conference play?
Well, it's always a grind. But I tell you, the best thing for Friday nights and Sunday nights match is that we got on the scoreboard early. And when you score first, you're not necessarily chasing the game.
Right.
So for us, it was great because Kaydence, like I said, in the first 5 minutes of the game, put the ball in the back of the net.
Boom.
And if you haven't seen it, you got to rewatch. I mean, all 4 goals, quality. But for Kay and for Sloane, great. Being able to receive the accolades this week, they're certainly well deserved. And we've got a number of players that any one of those players could have also been mentioned and could have been nominated as well. So anyway, but we're excited. We've got a big game this Friday.
Yeah,
we play
A&M
Corpus,
and
they're undefeated.
And they are. And y'all split last year and won on each other's pitch.
We did. We're excited about hosting them. Again, it's Friday Night Lights.
Yep.
We're hoping for a great crowd. Our fans were awesome this past weekend, and so we're hoping for a lot of people to come out. It's certainly the players feed off that.
Sure.
And so we've got a big game on Friday against Corpus. It's 7:00 kickoff.
All right. Should they be there early? Is there anything that kind of leads up to the kick?
Yeah, I mean, I think even when they're there, 20 minutes, 30 minutes before kickoff, I think that that helps certainly. But again, we need fans to come out.
All right, folks. Perfect. All right, be there. It's Friday night at 7:00, and it's just right over there across the highway. Go Lions. Welcome back, everybody. Inside Lion Athletics, we've got Clint Dalzell joining us now. A&M Commerce football ready to get back in action after the weekend off. Coach, conference play begins for you. You got to be eager to finally get into an SLC matchup.
We are. New season for us. 0-0. The whole conference is starting. All sports are starting conference. So, yeah, we're excited about it. Having that bye week was well-timed and well-needed for us, getting some guys back, as we just discussed off the air. But, Southeastern's a good football program, always have been. We feel like we owe them a little bit after the thumping they gave us when we were so depleted last year, the last game of the season. So, and obviously blocking a punt on us when they're up 50, that's, rubs a little salt in the wound, too, when they do that. So it gives us a little inspiration.
You weren't there when we beat them at their place the very first game, and they all looked like somebody run over their dog when it was over.
Yeah,
Coach.
Erod reminded me of that one.
Did he?
Yeah, this past week, how he went in there and we got that game from him. So, yeah.
Well, you're trying to get this ship flipped right. And the week off, what's been the message? Have you done anything different in practice to just kind of steady the tiller?
For us, like we talked about, we're not being able to go to the playoffs. It's all about the conference, win the conference, and that's our goal. So that's attainable. It's week 1 of that. Probably one of the better programs in the Southland for a long time is Southeastern. Coach Frank does a great job for them, the Selfco. So, we know they'll be tough. They look like the part. They play the part, and they played some really good opponents just like we have.
Do opponents in the Southland look a little bit slower, smaller, can't jump as high than the competition you've been scouting on film for the last month?
Yes, but Not Southeastern. You know, Southeastern looks the part. You know, anytime you look on film and whoever they're playing, they look just like the other team they're playing. And like I said, they played some really good teams. And Tulane, right off the bat, they played, and Southern Mississippi. They played them and played them close for a long time. So they played some really good programs, and played Tarleton last week to, basically a one-score game to three, holding the 3 there at the end to try to get, keep them out of the end zone. And they're obviously, they're kind of like us. They've got a win under their belt at least. So it'll be a good matchup for us. We know it's going to be, hostile environment. Anytime you go to Louisiana, it's always going to be, tough. You're fighting a lot. We won't mention anything else after that, but it'll be a fun game for us, and we're ready to go. That 2 weeks off, especially coming off, another loss, we're ready to get out there and get a win.
Coach, how's your quarterback situation now? Erod's hand healed up further. Ron Peace came out of the game, and you inserted a third gentleman into that spot. And I know it probably didn't shake up the world order in the quarterback room, but
yeah, no, that was just getting some reps with a game that was kind of out of hand. Didn't want to take a chance on getting Erod or Ron taking a chance for an injury late in that game with the game out of hand. So it was more getting reps from Will, and it's still those two guys. Erod is healthy, even more so, with the hand. That's not an issue anymore. And Ron, having those 2 weeks off, get his arm kind of, back in shape too. So it's still two-headed monster. We've got packages for both of them.
What about on defense? How's Jack's squad coming along?
Good. They look good. They're ready to. After last year, again, it's all we're thinking about is the Southeastern game. How we finished the season last year and how they put it on us on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. So, we're pretty healthy on that side. Like I said, we're all hungry.
Getting linemen back, getting in. Pardon me. I know, thinking back just a year ago, you weren't getting quite so many guys back in time for that conference opener.
Yeah,
it's always a big game.
Yeah, it is. Getting Vasquez back at right guard and getting Ellis back at right tackle makes us complete up front. And now we got our depth, too, with those other guys that, are having to play lots of reps in all these, past 4 ball games, which is great. Great experience for those guys. And if we need them, it'll be less rotation now that we're in conference. It's, if you're the starter for a reason, and we'll keep those guys out there. Get some receivers back as well. Jared Wilson will be available for us, we're excited about that. With 2 other receivers getting back too. Proctor, love having him back, and then Wilson, obviously I mentioned him, and I'm thinking of my second guy right now. I can't think off the top of my head who we're getting back, but he's been out for the whole time. Tyson Schilling, so it'd be good to get him back out there on the field too, and get those fresh legs, and they got to get that game experience back underneath their belt and that playing time.
All right, well, down in Hammond, Louisiana, folks, it'll be a dandy of an atmosphere down there.
Oh, no doubt.
Great old stadium too. Strawberry Field, isn't that what it is? Yeah.
Yep.
And Avi helping me out on that. I know you got another one of these you got to go to, though. So, Coach, thanks for joining us on this.
Appreciate it.
And we'll be with you Saturday instead of drinking Bold Gold at the beer
Bold
thing.
Gold, yeah.
They'll be watching on TV.
Excellent.
All right. Folks, thanks a lot.
Yeah,
Stay
Lions.
tuned. We got a little more to go after this.